Alright everybody, I am Kevin from The Real Movie Guys, and you are watching The Real Review, a series where we review and discuss all your favorite movies. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at The Unholy. A girl inexplicably gains the power to heal the sick after a supposed visitation from the Virgin Mary. As word spreads and people flock to witness her miracles, a disgraced journalist visits the small New England town to investigate. However, when strange events start to occur, we soon wonder if the phenomenon are the results of something more sinister. Religion is a funny thing. For a belief that is supposed to bring us so much comfort, it can truly be terrifying at times. Demons, possession, eternal damnation, just to name a few. I think because so many people have such a strong belief in a form of religion, these horrifying themes and concepts hit just that much harder. It's relatable. That is why whenever I see a movie created with this as the central story, I can't help but find myself excited. The Unholy has an interesting premise and all the parts to be something. However, an unfocused to a downright boring script, terrible acting, awful editing, and all the trimmings of a cliche PG-13 horror movie make The Unholy one of the worst horror movies I have seen in recent years. It's hard to believe with such an interesting concept that a movie could be so boring and uneventful. The idea of a reporter stumbling upon these miracles happening and trying to figure out exactly what's going on is such an explorable premise. The Unholy has a severe identity crisis in this regard. It wants you to believe that this is a story rich in lore and world building, but beyond a few conveniently placed information scenes, I never felt like I had a grasp on what the movie wanted to be. Did it want to be a more grounded, investigatory piece about debunking miracles, a cheap jump fest of a horror film, a commentary on the commercialism of religion and people's blind faith? All the above? I really couldn't tell you. Well, whatever this movie wanted to be, there's no denying the fact that it's all boring. Probably because you've seen it all before and done much better. Most of the movie involves characters standing around talking in circles. None of the subplots add up to anything substantial, and the messaging was never clear until they brutalize you over the head with it at the end of the movie, which by that point, I've already checked out. When the action finally does pick up, it feels like a different movie, but still consistently not a good one. There was one cool set piece with Mary draining the ink from a Bible so the pages couldn't be read. That was different, so kudos on that. The ending fight with Mary felt like the final boss fight to a video game, while also having all the modern conveniences of something you would see in a feel-good Hallmark film. Tonally, it's just all over the place. Unfortunately, not even being able to fulfill that coveted so bad it's good slot because nothing it does stands out. If you've never heard of a paycheck movie before, then just ask the actors in this film about it. I'm assuming Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing Jerry Fenn needed a little extra cash between Walking Dead seasons because damn did he just not give a crap. I'm not even sure what he said was written dialogue. It felt like he just said whatever he felt like on a particular shooting day, then went home.
I have another story. Deaf mute girl here connected to the church. She spontaneously talked.
Religious angle. Okay, Jerry.
$200.
Page 150. And bring pictures.
Don't be such a cheap bastard.
Carrie Ells playing Bishop Giles maybe tried a little too hard in the accent department because instead of just picking one, he did all of them. A little Bostonian, a little Italian, then none at all.
Let me ask you something. When you turn on the news, what do you see? War, famine, disease, suffering, hate. The devil is winning, Mr. Fenn. Faith is the only thing that stands between us and perdition.
At first I thought he was possessed because he sounded like he was speaking in tongues. It should be obvious at this point, but everyone was just plain bad or wooden in this movie. The reason I single out those two is because they should have known better, especially since they are excellent seasoned actors. I will say, seeing William Sadler as Father Hogan did get a chuckle out of me because I couldn't stop picturing him as Death from the Bill and Ted films. But you're probably saying to yourself, Kevin, if the movie's scary, then who cares about the rest? That's what we're here for. Yeah, if only that was the case. If you've seen a jump scare before, then these are coming at you a mile away. The worst part is that because those jump scares are so poorly done, you can literally look at the same scenes and imagine a better one being made than the one they used. There's one scene that involves Father Hagen rummaging through the basement of the church. We get a jump scare when he finds a hidden diary of plot information. Maybe instead it would have been a wise decision to build up suspense and have the evil hiding in plain sight throughout the scene in the shadows. This movie just isn't interested in building suspense in its scares, so as a result they come across as comical jumps. Poor camera work and the most common culprit of all, an overabundance of cuts just drag even some of the potentially clever ideas down. Then we come to our evil antagonist, Mary. In this instance, I do have some positive things to say about the movie. The opening scene of this film really sold the pain and agony Mary was suffering while being hung from the tree. The sound of a mask being nailed in her face from a first-person perspective was a really gruesome touch. I love how the mask plays into her simple character design too. The mask is very reminiscent of the face of an old statue you would see at a church, and having her demonically long fingers stretching out from the tattered robes really complement her unsettling look. And when she is really there, it's a standoff in a character for sure. Her unsettling movements and mannerisms really just work. But did I mention that it only works when she is there? For about 90% of the movie, we have to suffer through this truly unholy CGI rendering of her that would make any bargain DVD bin blush. It's that bad, and her Virgin Mary form is even that much worse, using a bathed in white light CGI rendering of a woman that had me cracking up every time she showed up. Less is always more, and this movie really should have taken that into consideration. If you can't pull off great CGI, then don't bother. With today's level of technology, there is a standard most people look for. With horror especially, having a practical antagonist there just adds something special, and by using the less is more approach, her presence would have meant that much more. Ultimately, The Unholy was an extremely interesting concept that just got lost somewhere along the way. The potential is there for a creepy designed antagonist in Mary, but the film is unable to bring out that potential in the character and stumbles in just about every area of execution. If only the time was taken to work on the story and presentation instead of having a bloody-eyed religious statue every other scene, we might have had a very different movie, which leads me to my final score. I'm going to give The Unholy an F.
You know what? I don't care. What I do care about is my employer is not going to pay for pictures of that cow's ass.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I know you don't.
Seriously, if you want to have a good time watching this film, take a shot every time a statue cries blood, then maybe, just maybe, you can create some enjoyment while watching this unholy mess. If you guys like what you've seen here today, consider giving this video a like and leaving your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to stay up to date with everything Real Movie Guys related, make sure to hit that subscribe button and check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And don't forget, all you audio listeners at home, we are available on many podcasting platforms. Just search The Real Movie Guys, you should pop right up. Thank you again all so much for joining us on this episode of The Real Review. We are The Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. Catch you next time.